sure. Like I know during like a weekday, especially a Monday, like it's hard to like come out for things. But the fact that y'all came out with like your kids and all that kind of speaks a lot, and I know they're going to be very excited to kind of share what they wrote for you all. What we kind of generated over the last like 3 months of working on poetry and all that. So a little bit of background on me. So I've been writing poetry since I was in junior high, like some of the students that I've worked with. But I didn't really turn it into a career. Or more so, I didn't know I could turn it into a career till I got to the age of 23 and started really kind of getting more actively involved in it, which led to me kind of like performing at like open mics around the Quad Cities, which led to doing open mics outside of the city, outside the state, and then years later just traveling and like getting paid to do what I love, which is teaching poetry, and also performing poetry. And one thing that I told all the students, when it comes to poetry, one thing that I always try to like really instill with them is, all of us that kind of write poetry, like it may not be a thing where we all like have aspirations to do poetry and like perform it everywhere and all that, you know, because we all still have our different kind of passions and things we want to do, but at the end of it, for me, poetry is an important is an important art because of like what it kind of does for the person, you know. If you don't end up sharing your poems with people, that's okay because of what it kind of does for you. Like for me, I always tell people that poetry is for me first, and then I kind of share it out after, and somehow we're all connected through it, you know. But if I never ever like perform poetry again, or never even jumped into perform poetry, I would still do it because of like how it makes me kind of like reflect on who I am, how to kind of like be honest with myself about the things that I should fix about myself, and even be honest about things that I like about myself, you know. So for the students, that's one thing that I always wanted them to write poetry for first, for themselves, and then allow themselves to share it to a wider audience. These last 3 months that we're doing poetry, we kind of just worked on like simple things when it comes to like rhyme, simile, and with the help of like the great teachers I work with, they kind of like help like creating lessons around these poetic devices to kind of help them kind of build their skills with writing and all that. And a lot of the students came up with a lot of great stuff. I remember one day, I think it was the second month that we did this, the first hour of the day that I came into the junior senior high, I had students read a poem that they wrote, kind of reflecting about themselves on things they want to like, the things that they're proud about in themselves. And a couple students cried while hearing the poems, you know, and I think like for that to kind of happen shows that they wrote something that was like meaningful to them in that present moment. And I also told them that crying was okay. Like in my career, I cried a lot in front of people. But that's kind of like shows kind of like the power behind your work. So when you get to that place, if you get to that place tonight, just know that it's okay. But I'm excited for y'all to hear that work and poetry as well. What I usually do before the students do poetry, do their work and read it, is I kind of share my work first because I know how like nerve-wracking it can be being the first person for anything. You know, the first person lunch line, first person to raise your hand about a question. So like when sharing your work with people, it's kind of a really like vulnerable place, you know. So I always kind of put myself as a sacrificial lamb, quote unquote, to kind of share my poems first. So before we do that, I kind of want to tell y'all kind of like what your participation is as a crowd. Because the unique thing about poetry is like the audience has a participatory part to it that kind of helps the reader read a little bit more better, help them feel a little bit more confident, and let them know that the people are with them. So we all snap whenever like poets come up, or when they say something that really resonates, or say something that sounds cool. So if y'all can snap real quick, since we get snap, perfect. Feel free to do that when poets come up, while they're reading, and also when they leave. If you want to clap too, don't feel shy about clapping. You can also clap as well. But do what you can to kind of like motivate them as they come up, because again, like sharing your narrative in front of a whole bunch of people that you know and don't know is like a very nerve-wracking thing. So that just helps the poets out all the more. So before y'all read and all that, I'm gonna read a poem. Can I do that? All right, so you guys gonna give an example of snapping, right? That's cool, perfect. So I'm gonna read a poem called You've Been Here Before. When fears find themselves in that first breath you breathe in the morning, reflecting themselves in your cup of coffee, remember, you've been here before. You've swam through this pool of anxiety, drenched and soaking in cynicism, palms sweat as mind races in the wrong direction, believing you can't turn things around in this path. I mean, you've been bending corners since birth, beat billions of seeds of fertile grounds and grew to blossom air in your lungs in the same way. You fought many battles. Some with siblings, some with parents, or maybe we shouldn't do that, some with parents, and some with self. That part of you that sees mountains and shudders, trembles to trials and tribulations taking forms of tests, and quizzes that you've taken 2 times 2 times. Don't worry, family. This feeling's familiar. Those failures you witnessed with confidence reviews, yet yielded more lessons and study plans you peruse. Them tears naked heart were short-lived and you're still living, lifting weights that once crushed you. You've been here before. Standing face to face with withdrawals. Insufficient funds that run across receipt, in times you need gas and food to eat. Mind spiraling in the hole because you're in the hole. Scarred by scarcity, they'll healed and abundant. Don't let heart decline due to decline. Don't let inward system shut down in presence of suffering. She's just trying to show you how to dance. She's not moving too fast. You just lost your balance. Take a breath. Don't this feel familiar? That voice bending you on telling you, that voice telling you that you've died 1,000 deaths. Though you lived through thousands of threats, taking forms of weapons that cut deep, yet too dull to suffer what gut reaps. Ain't it beautiful how we show up for self and worse afflictions, ascending ball and shame and curses lifted? We've been through this before. It's just because it all looks different. So when fears find themselves, in that first breath you breathe in the morning, reflecting themselves in your cup of coffee, you probably don't drink coffee. Remember that when you drink coffee. Reflect themselves in your cup of coffee. You've been here before. You've been here before. And will continue to be here before. And that's that moment. So, with how loud y'all were for me, you guys got to be 10 times as loud for them when they read your poems. They did a lot of amazing job. Yeah, it's a lot of difference. It's everyone's first time reading in front of people. Am I right? It's your first time doing this. So that's something that not your like that was a time song. Yeah. So with it being a lot of them first times, like let's definitely give it up for when they share poems. So if I'm not wrong, Mr. Gunner's up first. Rick, let's give up.
Hello, my name is Gunnar Snook. I am in 3rd grade. This is my poem. My word is turquoise. T is for turbo fastness, U is for unique, R is for rambunctious, Q is for questionable, U is for underwater interested, O is for omelet, I is for integrity, S is for secret, E is for energetic. That is my poem. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jason Blade. I am 3rd grade and this is my poem. My family is like outdoors. My dad is like a fly. He don't sit still in the deer blind. My mom is like a maid. She don't stop. My sister is like a real cool girl. She's really cool. My dog is like a buck. He don't go 20. My other dog is like a cow. She jumps and bites. Got this.
Got that.
My name is Connor, and I'm in 3rd grade. This is my poem. I wrote turquoise. T is for circle, U is for unique, R is for responsible, G is for quiet, V is for unreleasable, O is for open, I is for irresistible, S is for surprise, and E is for exemplary. My name is Deanna. My family is like a wolf. My mom is like a owl. My dad is like a bull. My stepdad is like a joker. My brothers are like a mess. My cat is like a cheetah.
My name is Harlan. I'm in 4B. I have the math blues. Every time they say 2 plus 2 equals 4, but I get a D minus on my math paper. Every time they say Math problems, they make my ears fall off. It's frustrating, scary, and math makes me pee my pants.
Me too.
My name is Noelle. I'm in 4th grade. My life is good because no matter what, I always care for people, overcoming obstacles, learning all new things. I like math. It's like snuggling my cat. I don't like reading. It's a jail I can't escape. Language arts makes me feel as I'm homesick. Recess is as good as a snack. My family and friends are funny, awesome, and as nice as pie. Even though I love school, maybe I should go back to pre-K.
My name is Adeline. I'm in 5th grade. My family's name is Adrian. I am 10. My name is not Ben. I am not a 10. My last name is not Ben. It is not cool to be 10. It is like being a fool. I wish I was 4 and say things like cool. Instead, I am 10 getting bossed around, not tossed and not tossed. Hello, my name is Stone Johnston. I'm in 6th grade, and I have 2 poems. The first one is Light on Your Path. The light on your path gives you faith. How do you do things without faith? The light will get brighter, the sun will be high. You'll still have bad days, but if you give God praise, He'll be with you every day. The light on your path leads to faith. Never give up and praise. Now my next poem is You Be You through and through. You can be popular, you can be just a person. You can be nice, you can live life on thin ice. You can be chilling in life. What I mean is, you be you through and through.
Carly, go for it.
My name is Carly Dale, and I have a poem, and it's called Birds. They fly high across the sky. Birds, birds, birds. If you come close, they might say bye, 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 bye. They don't fly, but they can cry. Birds, birds, birds. They are happy, they are sad, but they can be very, very, very mad. Birds are here, birds are there, birds are everywhere. But please just care. Birds lose their homes for hours, and then they look for hours. As they fly high across the sky, they just might cry. They'll make a new nest, but now they have a place to rest. We hurt them and we don't realize their population will resize. Because birds fly across the sky, but as they fly, some might die. But don't cry. They are not endangered in any way, but one day they might go away. I don't think they should have it that way.
My family is like a flower that never wilts. My name is Carol, and this is my poem. My family is like a flower. My sister is like a mosquito. She is annoying. My mom is like a flower. She won't stop planting. My dad is like a Santa Claus. He's strong. My dog is like a frog.
Payback.
She just wrote a new poem.
We're just gonna free verse at this point.
I'm Chloe, and my poem is about what I see out my window. Out of my window, I see a lot of trees. Trees with colorful leaves of red, orange, yellow, and the not so pleasant brown. There are also trees without any leaves at all. I see pines and evergreens, green as can be, like Christmas trees inside a warm house on Christmas morning.
I also see green grass, sometimes even coated with a thin layer of snow, soft like powdered sugar sprinkled on top of a cake. Then, when it gets late enough in the year, the snow is like a thick blanket covering the ground in a sometimes fluffy and sometimes thick and wet. Sometimes pleasant and other times not. That is when I see snowmen and sleds dancing and skirting around the yard. Then they slowly slip away as the flowers appear, popping up with great colors and volume like no other. The fireflies and butterflies are frolicking about. Without a doubt, the spring will last forever. Then, at last, the warmest time of the year comes, summer. The waves splash on top of the sea as the sun beats down on the green grass below. There are kids swinging, singing, playing, and working, all yearning for the next beautiful day. The farmer wishes for a good year with plenty of rain, but not too much to flood the fields or too little, leaving the fields in drought. Then it goes back into fall, and the beautiful cycle of seasons starts again. Thank you.
Is there anybody else who just showed up that has a poem? No? Okay. No, don't do it. That's fine.
Righty tighty, lefty loosey.
I'm not saying you're short and stuff, but you're a little short. We had 3 high schoolers that wrote poems. Two of them couldn't be here and one wouldn't be here. We have a person and they wanted me to remain anonymous, but she wrote, I think, a very touching poem. So thankfully, Stephanie Taylor volunteered to share that poem with you. And then if we twist his arm, I bet Aubs would do another poem.
Oh, absolutely.
So, Stephanie.
All right. I was voluntold. I don't think I volunteered.
I do that a lot.
But here we go. The poem's called Thanks for Making Me Strong. I've been strong my whole life for family and friends. I've been strong my whole life for myself and my motivations. Through heartache and abandonment, I've been strong my whole life. When you stole my innocence and killed my soul, I stayed strong. When you took my happiness for your own selfishness, I stayed strong. When he left all of us to fend for ourselves, I stumbled, but I stayed strong. Those 2 men tried to break me, but I've been strong my whole life, only in spite to be better than you. I will be strong now and for the rest of my days. Thank you for making me strong.
So I want y'all to, if y'all could, give it up for all of the students participating. Good job. And obviously y'all did it once. The good thing is, since you did it once already, the next time it's gonna be easier. You know, was it kind of scary going up there doing it? No, not at all.
Now they've done it, it's fun.
Yeah, see, you did it once, that means you can do it again. So I hope, like, y'all know at the end of the day that you guys got the courage to be able to, like, share stories in front of people, you know? That's not a hard thing.
I'm used to it now because I went to the microphone in music class last year.
Oh, that's good. So you got a little practice then. That's really good. So you got a lot of practice. You got some good practice in there. Really good. Thank you for sharing your poem. That was really awesome. Really awesome. So as like you all kind of heard, like all the students, they had different narratives. You know, there's students who had all these different stories about themselves, about their families, about what they think when they see birds, about what they think when they're working on the farm, all this. Like they had all these different narratives. But I think at the end of the day, it kind of shows them like students have stories, you know. And at the end of the day, like I tell people that like my job not isn't necessarily to teach them how to do poetry, but invite them to do it because they all know how to do poetry. You know, they all know what rhyme is. They all know how to kind of write stories. But I think like growing up, one thing that I kind of that I learned, and like maybe some of y'all can kind of attest to this too, is that we don't really get the permission to like be creative. You know how to be creative, but we don't really get the outlets to like have somebody come alongside us and say like, yo, like, what you write is amazing, it's great, have it in mind, it's creative, and go share that. So I think like with that, with kind of sharing all the pieces, I hope that kind of encourages y'all to kind of like see that like these students, they have stories to tell, and like if they only need a little push, really encouragement to kind of share their stories, you know. And with this in close, I'm going to do one more poem. You don't even have to twist my arm. No arm twisting. But one thing I definitely say, like with y'all, like y'all had I'm really grateful to have worked with y'all, and I think Tom as well, and John as well, and the great teachers I work with to kind of give me the opportunity to work with students. Like I said, I've been doing this for the last like 7 years. I work with like, many schools, like in Illinois, in Iowa, and like even outside of those kind of states, and even outside the country as well. But just getting the response and the curiosity and poetry that I got from y'all, it's definitely one that I'm always gonna remember. So I thank y'all for allowing me to come, and I thank y'all for being excited, you know, being kind of like interested in poetry, and even for sharing your stories. Because your stories influence me now. You know, I'm gonna take your stories home, and they're gonna make me think of stories that I can write about myself because y'all were great. Are you gonna miss me? Oh, keep that. That's a trophy, man. Those are your trophies. Keep those. Don't throw those away. Those are your proofs that you guys were brave in front of people, right? Also, what I'll also say, like when this when we all kind of like after I do my poem and all that, I run an open mic at home for a poetry called Roaring Rhetoric. I've been doing it for the last 7-8 years. And one thing that I always tell the audience members is that like art kind of provokes conversation, you know. With all the stories that you heard, like it's probably about curiosity in your mind, like what sparked the students to write what they did, what narrative kind of like made them kind of share the stories that they did. And I say to say that like just like I tell Roaring Rhetoric, definitely feel free to ask the students, even thank them. I would say even first and foremost, like when you go with the students, thank them for sharing their work. But that's again a very vulnerable thing to do, to share work in front of people. But also ask them questions about their stories. That kind of like makes conversation happen, because good art provokes conversation, whether it be a painting, a song, or poetry. So definitely use their work to kind of like build a closer relationship if it's somebody who is a son or daughter to you, talk to them about their work. If it's somebody who you know is a family friend, talk to them about their work, because that builds a better like connection and almost an inspiration of them kind of write more and more. What's up?
I was in third grade and I went to my neighbor's house. I made a poem about this girl in third grade in the class, but I lost it because my friends teacher lost my.
Oh man! And I know it's like listening to poems, man, but you know what that means now? Now that you know how to like really write, you can rewrite that poem, right? Probably 10 times better. So before I close out, I'm going to do one more poem, and this is a poem that I shared with the students for our last day. One of the prompts that I give, one of the prompts, which is a topic that students kind of wrote off of. One of the topics I gave students to write on was to write about somebody, whether they're dead or alive, that kind of like influences them in kind of a positive way. Whether that be like a friend, family member, anybody that influences them in a positive way. And for an example, I used a poem that I wrote that I titled my friend's name, Bobby. His nickname was Bobby T. the Melody. But it was a friend of mine who passed away this year, earlier, just from like a sickness and all that, like sick complications and all that. But it's a poem that I wrote for him to kind of keep him alive. But one thing I told students is like, the one thing about art that's a really awesome thing about it is that it keeps people who are long gone, whether it be somebody who's alive who just moved states over, countries over, or somebody who passed away. Art's one way to kind of keep those people alive with ourselves and with other people who don't even know them, to kind of like show who that person was, who they're around us, how they influenced us. So I wrote a piece called Bobby T. the Melody. I'm going to share that piece last. I'm going to read just like y'all did. Can I do that? All right, this is the last piece. When you passed away, we had the sickest cipher in your honor. We all circled your casket as a background at lunch table, making melodies with knuckles, knocking that click speed we all knew. Only this time, fists banged on the door first that housed your body. So frantic, so out of beat. But we still brought bars from the basement. We still wrote rhymes on the low. We still recited verses from deep down, but still had the heart to freestyle farewells. No matter how on point our pen and pad, no matter how much we prepared for this day, we still choked. We still lost words. still shed tears. You always had a way of weaving wordplay and wit in a way the world would worship. And all we have left is unreleased records that I wish I'd hear in person, because when you passed away, they had the sickest side for your honor. I sat outside that circle, just like the old days, a mere spectator accused of people who kinda knew you. A regular Joe in awe of your ability, just like the rest. So inspired by your cursive craft words that I wrote poetry, in hopes of one day write words, just like you. Months before you left the booth of life, you told me that I inspired you. And Bobby, I want you to know that this honor is higher than any Grammy, like a torch passing its flame to a match. That same day, do you remember you brought bars from the attic and went off top at our open mic and open hearts? Even though we graduated from tabletops to turntables, even though you was a little frantic, forgot your lines a little bit, was a little offbeat, you still had ways of weaving wordplay and wit in a way the world would worship. And that praise pours through my rhymes, cries through my craft. Your punchlines echo every time I put pen to pad and pen my pain. Wrap my wrist with woes I write. Jot my flows, make sure flows is tight. Inspire someone to glow and light that path. So when I dim and fade away, a beat won't be missed. And that's it.